Welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate with David and Company. I have my special guest, LaKale Farley, and we are going to have packed information tonight. We're going to be talking about second chance home buying and getting you back into home ownership. How are you this evening, Ms.
I'm
Farley?
doing well.
Very good, very good. In our industry, you're dealing with foreclosures, distressed properties, loan modifications, short sales. You have homeowners that periodically get themselves in a situation that it takes years to recover from. A lot of people are out renting properties. They wish they can buy a home. I know I just put some properties on the market the other day, and two of the homeowners are now looking at selling their properties and relocating. And one lady almost had sticker shock because her problem was is she said, David, a two-bedroom apartment is running me $1,200 a month. She said, I only pay $700 a month for my house. So even though she's making some money out the deal, just moving into a rental situation is kind of overwhelming for people. So this course that we've written, spent plenty of time going through all the ins and outs and dealing with people that are either being reintroduced into homeownership, have gone through some type of real estate event or situation, and their credit has gotten jacked up, all types of things that could happen that prevents you from going to a conventional lender and borrowing money. So, in your experience, what type of situations have you run into where people are just kind of stuck and they're trying to get into home ownership, whether they're trying to qualify for a loan or they don't have adequate income to be able to get enough house? What kind of situations have you run into?
Where people don't have their credit right to be able to purchase a new home, especially if their home was foreclosed maybe 2 years ago, or if they've been in bankruptcy maybe a year or so. Their credit is not ready yet. So a lot of those problems is what I'm running into, to tell them how to get that straightened out to be able to pursue their dreams of getting a home.
Right. You've dealt with many people. We are working on a joint case now where a client is in a divorce situation, and they are separating. One party is remaining in the property. We were able to successfully work out a loan modification. The other party is already relocated. So even a situation like that where these people have gotten behind on their mortgage payments, that is going to definitely have an adverse effect. But now they're looking for new home ownership, or they're looking for a place that they can call home, and not necessarily be in a extended stay. What kind of situations have you heard about lately? Because I want to address kind of everything from people with IRS issues, some of the things that lenders are looking for. We have a section in our course, and our course is actually broken up into 10 modules. So one of the modules is about how third parties see you. So tell me a little bit about what you have experienced in dealing with people that are separating. They either sold a home or they getting a modification, or going through a divorce and somebody's had to move out. So
Well, numerous of cases I've dealt with is where the husband and wife no longer together anymore or want to divorce. And unfortunately, you have issues such as cars and houses in your divorce, but the judge wants you to come to a conclusion on what you're going to do with these items. Because at the end of the day, the bank don't care about you getting a divorce. They care about who's going to pay this money that's owed to us at the end of the day that you took out when you were married or single at the time. So we have to a lot of times look for situations into when they're trying to go through the divorce on how to resolve their problems with their home. And you've already testified against a lot of clients, or with a lot of clients, to tell them what would be the best option to divide their assets,
Right,
such as
right.
their homes. So I'm very excited about the new course that you've just written to go into further details about what happens next. So tell me a little bit about, tell the audience a little bit about the new program that you've written.
Well, this is, like I said, it's broken up into 10 modules. The first module is about looking at what your housing needs are versus your housing wants, an actual timeline. So the purpose of the course is so our listening audience could be completely clear about it. It takes care of your immediate housing issues today, and it gets you on a path as well as resolving all of your issues to get you into permanent financing later. So, for instance, Someone may be in a situation to where they, whatever the situation is, from having bad credit, or they just couldn't go to the bank and get conventional financing. Um, and they need a house today. I mean, just the housing needs they need to be addressed today. It could be a for sale by owner. It can be a loan assumption, or pre foreclosure, a lease purchase, owner finance. There's just so many techniques that we're going to talk about at length in this course to get you prepared for that. But the first thing we want to do is we want you to address what your needs are versus your wants. So, for instance, I live in a 5-bedroom house. Do I need a 5-bedroom home? No. I can actually suffice with a 3-bedroom. I could actually suffice with even possibly a 2-bedroom. I need a garage. I need things to be able to put my toys, my cars and things like that. So we want to realistically look at people and their individual needs versus their wants. There's a particular rule in the real estate industry. It's 2 bedrooms plus one. So if you are a married couple, you can suffice with 1 bedroom. If you have a child, you need a 2nd bedroom. If you have 2 children, you need a 2nd bedroom. But if you have 3 children, you need a 3-bedroom home. 2 of the kids can share a room, but one of those kids need to have another room because most likely they're going to be in a different age bracket or different sex. So from a realistic standpoint, there is a way that you can actually legally break that down. But you've gone to folks' houses and they have their uncles and mothers and other folks piled up in one house, so you don't want to overcrowd yourself. So we really address the issues in the first module of what your housing needs are. The other thing we address is what you can afford.
That's very important.
Absolutely.
Lord knows it is. And please, can you please go into details in regards to what they can afford, and how can you go into details about how that is determined by the mortgage company?
Absolutely. Mortgage companies, from a loan modification standpoint and from getting a new mortgage, FHA guidelines are a little bit different from conventional guidelines, but we're going to talk about FHA guidelines because those are the ones that are going to be a little bit more safe. We're looking at 31% of your monthly income. So whatever your monthly income is, your mortgage payment by itself needs to be 31% or less by itself. That's called the front end ratio.
Correct.
On the back end ratio, you need to look at your housing expenses or your creditors, credit cards, car note, things of that nature, and your mortgage payment, and that's your back end ratio. Now, those back end ratios, I've seen those as high as 80% of people's income. That's not a safe zone, but the mortgage industry likes for that mortgage payment to be 31% or less of your income, and your back end ratio needs to be somewhere around 42 to perhaps even 56%. So it just depends on the lender, but we're talking about from a safe standpoint. And that's your total household income. So if you have other folks that's working in what they call a non-borrower contributor, you want to factor in what they are able to safely afford to pay you on a monthly basis, same as if they were paying rent. So you need to take a look at your household needs and your household wants and your financial abilities.
So David, can you break this down a little bit further with the percentages and the amount of money? Can we do an example? Say, for instance, a person make $2,500 a month.
Okay.
Can we break those figures down to
Pull
what
out
you were
your
just
calculator.
talking
How about that one? Pull out
That'll
your
work.
calculator, and we can give you some exact figures. So if you're making $2,500 a month, you really want to multiply that by 31%. So I might be able to beat you here to it.
Yeah, because I
so,
got mine on.
$2,500 a month, and I should normally have these little templates set up for this. So $2,500 a month times 0.31, and that your front end ratio means you can afford to pay $775 a month, and that's not a lot of house, believe it or not. $2,500 is really technically not a lot of money. But a lot of people, that is their monthly household expenses.
Correct.
So you need to look at that. Then 2,500 times let's say 52% for the back end ratio. We're looking at times 0.52, and that gives you. My calculator is doing its kind of own thing today. 52%. that's $1,300 a month. So you're looking at your monthly household expenses, and realistically, this is kind of unrealistic. So $2,500 a month, a lot of people will get around $1,000 a month mortgage payment. If you are living from paycheck to paycheck, you have to realize that you need to have a cushion. So from a $2,500 a month standpoint, $700, $800, $900 a month front end ratio, you can kind of look at that and say, okay, well, they can get away with that. But a bank is not going to lend you money based on those numbers.
Correct.
So you really want to factor in all of the household income and anyone that is what they call a contributor or a non-borrower contributor. So if
Okay,
they're actually
so-
going on a mortgage.
So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
What is considered, because you just said all household persons that are in the home,
Mm-hmm.
Could it be a husband and wife be a contributor? Could it be a husband and a mother, a husband and a daughter? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
It can be anyone. It can be a domestic partner. It can be a roommate. If this is going to be something that's going to be long term, you don't want to get someone that's going to be renting out a room from you and they're going to be gone in 6 months, because all of that burden is going to be on you. So you really need to look at who's going to be there a year, 2 years into this. And then keep in mind the Second Chance Home Buyers course is designed to immediately address your housing needs today. And it's also designed to get you credit worthy, mortgage worthy later for permanent financing. So all that changes rules as you get yourself improved. So the first module, again, talks about what you can afford. And this is based on Fannie Mae Freddie Mac guidelines. You're not getting a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac mortgage today. You're getting a regular house that you can afford that doesn't have anything to do with Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, and it is about what you feel comfortable with being able to afford. So a lot of people feel comfortable with $2,500 a month income. They can pay $1,100, $1,200 a month comfortably.
Okay.
Okay. So they can go in and renegotiate creditors if you have, or you can, if you have the ability to go borrow, which again, this course is not designed for people to go borrow. This is designed for people that have issues and they've gone to their local lender or a credit union and try to borrow money to get a mortgage, and they will reject it. But they need a house today. Okay?
So let me ask you this question. What do you feel about the myth of lease purchase?
Lease purchase, and we address that in this course. I am against lease purchases for several reasons. Number one, most companies that offer lease purchase programs, and I can be for them, but I'm gonna tell you the negatives that I have about them, then I'll tell you the positives.
Okay.
Negatives about lease purchases is most of them require a down payment. And if you're in a place like Georgia that has a quick foreclosure or a quick eviction process, you need to be very careful. So this is how that look. I just put $10,000 down on a $150,000, $200,000 house that I plan to do a lease purchase.
Ooh.
Because your down payment is definitely going to be more than what it would be if you were just doing a regular rental. I get in there. I'm scheduled to make a monthly payment for the next 2 years. At the end of the 2 years, the seller has agreed to give me X amount of dollars as a credit on a monthly basis of my rent towards my closing cost, or they can give me a portion of those monies out of my rents that I've paid for 24 months towards the purchase price. Mm-hmm. So those kind of arrangements are great because you don't have to worry about coming up with money at the end of the day. But here's the horror story, and there are a few. If you, for whatever reason, fall behind on your mortgage payment or your rent payment, the landlord can actually evict you, and in Georgia it's called a dispossessory, and you can lose everything that you put into the property.
Correct.
A lot of times these lease purchases, you want to get into these properties, you want to paint them, people are just doing all kinds of things because this is what they're getting ready to do is prepare this for their home. Mm-hmm. But you're doing this for someone else's property. The other horror story that I have is people can get into these properties and make a monthly payment to the landlord or the management company or whomever, and these people may not be making the payments to the mortgage company.
Correct, and I heard quite a few of those nightmares.
And Georgia used to actually have a law that was in effect that protected tenants in those types of situations. That law has expired, so there is no benefit or no protection to a tenant in a foreclosure scenario, especially if the tenant continued to make payments to the landlord. So those are two of the worst situations that I don't like about lease purchases, and there are things that you can do to offset that. Here's another thing I don't like about lease purchases. When you're not able to qualify for financing for whatever reason, because 2 years sounds like, oh, that's a long period of time. I can get myself together. Maybe I had a bankruptcy on my credit report. Maybe I had some IRS issues. I can get myself really in a good position in 24 months. Before you know it, here comes 18 months into this thing, and now you have all this work you need to do, or the mortgage process has changed because in every presidential administration, the mortgage industry is definitely impacted.
Correct.
Right now, the Trump administration has made it a little easier for people that's financing on houses, believe it or not. Some of the red tape that people used to have to go through, like the Dodd-Frank, has been sort of dismantled, and that makes it easier for people to secure financing. And banks have a lot of money to lend at this point. So they do have different mortgage programs coming back that's helping you with your home purchase needs, but it's not a guarantee.
Correct.
So now you're 18 months into this thing. You're trying to figure out where you're going to get your financing. Now you're getting closer. Maybe it's some issues with the property that you didn't foresee. By the time the mortgage company that you're borrowing the money from to get your financing finalized,
Or
they
maybe
may
just life.
yeah, or
Life.
well, something could happen on either side.
Mm-hmm.
The thing of it is typically lease purchases have zero flexibility, and that's the bad thing that I don't like about it. In my course, there's a section in the course that talks about getting you into home ownership, doing a loan assumption, going through a situation where someone is in a pre-foreclosure and you reinstate their mortgage, you take over their mortgage subject to. We talk about some creative finance techniques in this module that really can take care of your immediate housing needs. Now, we do talk about a little bit about lease purchases because there's some positive things about lease purchases as long as you are in control of it.
Now, can you get more into details about creative financing?
Sure. So in the course where we actually are talking about locating motivated situations, not necessarily motivated homeowners, you want to get a motivated situation. Like a divorced couple is a situation. They may not even be behind on payments at all, but they're motivated to liquidate that property. It could be a probate situation. Again, the property could be free and clear. It may not even be a financial crisis, but it is a situation crisis. So we talk a lot about how to approach these types of situations or hire Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors. Also specialize in dealing with motivated situations. So if you're looking for a creative situation that you can get into, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, you really want to get in contact with us. Visit www.kiplingrec.com or just simply call the office at 770-691. We talk a lot about how to locate motivated situations. Pre-foreclosures is an excellent one.
Yes.
The thing of it is when you're looking at these properties, there's positives and there's more positives about the situations. I really can't call them negatives because, for instance, a lot of folks that may be going through a pre-foreclosure may not have the money to take care of the repairs or the maintenance of the property
Correct.
as well. So you can actually get in and negotiate some super deals because people don't have the financial means to fix closet doors or to, upgrade the kitchens or things of that nature. So not only can you negotiate something to get you into the creative side of it, to get you into home ownership, but you can also negotiate deals that way because of repairs that may need to be done or additional preferred maintenance that the homeowner hasn't had the financial means to be able to take care of. We talk about that in this course. But going back to Module 1, that's the most important one because people have to do homework. What they can comfortably afford to pay. We also ask them to pull their credit reports. We talk about how to get a copy of your free credit report and look at and analyze the issues that you may have on your credit report. There's a particular module in this particular course that I'm really proud of, and it's called How Third Parties View You.
Mm-hmm.
Because a mortgage company, a landlord, a for sale by owner, a management company, an investment company, whomever you're trying to negotiate your deal with is that third party. And you
Correct.
need to understand what it is that they look for. So let's talk about criminal background, for instance.
Okay.
A lot of folks don't think that that's a major role, but the Dodd-Frank Act is about criminal background. It's about certain types of federal crimes, financial crimes that can prevent you from getting a mortgage. Now, most people aren't going to have those issues, but you may have been arrested for a traffic ticket or something insignificant. That's not going to interfere with your mortgage process, but it could interfere with a landlord or someone in a creative situation pulling a criminal background on you.
Or even determine where you're going to be able to live, because a lot of communities nowadays don't want you if you have certain things on your background, like rape, sodomy, stuff like that. They don't want you in their neighborhoods.
Sure.
In fact, you'll be on the list to make sure that doesn't happen.
And in a way, that's excellent. I mean, I have nothing bad against that. Everybody needs a place to stay.
Correct.
I know in some other states that they have rules and laws against using a person's criminal background, but in Georgia, the whole ball game is open. I mean, Georgia is going to look at everything. So from a Georgia standpoint, you really need to understand what's in your criminal background. You need to understand what's on your credit report. A lot of things you see on your on your credit report is a score factor. So if you can have good credit, but your scores may not be high enough. You can actually be denied for a housing application. Just depends on what it is you're looking for because your scores are low. So in this particular module, we have you pull your information and we tell you where you can go to get a copy of your criminal background, how to go get a free copy of all 3 of your credit reports. You don't want this stuff online. You really want to have hard copies of this stuff so you can sit down and do your homework. Derogatories on your credit report, we're not giving you any credit repair, teaching you credit repair. We're teaching you how to enhance and improve what people see on your credit report. So for instance, if you have multiple, and let me give you this as a simple rule, if you have multiple previous addresses or different variations of your name,
That
these
counts
are
against you.
Yeah, that all counts against you. So we give you hints on how to actually repair that and remove those derogatories. So for instance, if you have a previous address you lived at 5 years ago, if I sent you a letter to that address right now, would you receive it?
No.
So it's inaccurate information.
Correct.
So this is how this information is looked at. Not saying that you've never lived there before. This is the credit reporting agencies are heavily mandated about what information they put on report on you. And so the information has to be accurate and it has to be current. So if this is not your current address, you can literally go through a process and have that previous address removed.
Now, is that very difficult to get it to be removed?
No, it's not. And we tell you step by step how to. Everything in this course is a step by step in real time of how to do it. In addition to this, once you go through the course, you actually can contact us for customer support. A lot of folks you can sit and give them every ingredient to Kentucky Fried Chicken, and somehow or another they can still mess it up.
That's true.
The grease may not be hot enough, or maybe too hot. So you really can't expect people to get
Comprehend or understand.
Yeah, I mean, rules are there. Everything is in black and white. The problem is you need to be able to pick up the phone sometimes and say, "Hey, I ran into this dilemma. What do you think I can do about that?" So we're actually giving our purchasers of this course a 1-year customer support where they can actually pick up the phone, call us, or they can go to our website, internet, and be able to get some answers and solutions. We have a lot of third-party referrals because, for instance, there are credit repair or credit enhancement companies, educational companies. Some of them we've had on our talk show for as guest speakers. We want you to be able to contact these people because sometimes it may be too much for you to do. So you can actually engage or hire these people to handle these certain things for you. But you need to come to the table and understand your needs, your abilities, and your wants, and ultimately what your end result is going to be.
Okay, so once I get the credit report, once I get the background, once I set the budget, once I look at and bring also a copy of my paycheck stubs, what is the next step?
And so you just said several things. Paycheck stubs. Again, this course is about fixing and preparing you for ultimate home ownership. There are a lot of self-employed people out there that don't pay themselves with paycheck stubs.
Correct.
So
Bank
even in this
statements.
course, we're not trying to tell you how to run your business. We're trying to tell you how to correctly put yourself in a position to be able to get conventional conforming
Loans.
financing.
Hmm.
So if you don't have your books in order and you're not paying yourself properly, you don't have bank accounts and all that kind of stuff, there's a module that's specific about your financials and how third parties look at you. So get you a bank account. If you, there are second chance banks out there, if you've gone through the check systems and it's difficult for you to get a bank account, we actually have resources that you'll be able to pick up the phone and call these folks, go to their website, and be able to open up bank accounts. This is about resolving whatever issues you may have. So at the end of your final loan process, you're able to go and get you financing. We also have a preferred lender. So let's talk a little bit about the lenders. In the earlier part of the course, people sometimes need to find out whether or not they're credit worthy today.
Correct.
So you will be connected with a loan officer. You can do your application online and determine what you can get, if you can get anything today, and if you can't. The beautiful thing I love about this particular company we work with, they tell you what you need to do in order for you to get yourself into financing. So they don't just tell you, no, we can't help you out. What they will do is say, okay, you got some derogatories you need to get cleared up. You got a bankruptcy on your credit report. We do have a loan program for you. But to get the best interest rate, to get the lowest down payment, this bankruptcy needs to be off your credit report 2 years plus 1 day. There are some companies out there that's doing discharge bankruptcy 1 year and 1 day, which is a new situation. But we also have some second chance lenders that if you're, like for instance, the same lady that I talked about that I'm selling her home, she's going to be able to go into a second chance lender and not be hit with high interest rates or a high down payment because her situation is just on the cusp of being able to go through a Fannie Mae product,
Okay.
or she can go with a second chance lender and she can get herself situated and graduate into that Fannie Mae lender, and this same company can actually refinance her into that. So because she's able to come up with 20% down, because she's actually making money out of the transaction. And by the way, I put her property on the market on Friday, and today is Tuesday, and I have multiple offers on her property already.
Oh, wow.
At full price. So this is a different market, but she's going to walk away with some money. And actually, I think she's listening to us tonight. So she's going to be able to walk away with money out of this transaction, but she'll be able to put down 20%. Now, I actually was at a class earlier today with her lender that told her, hey, you can come back and see us in 1 year.
Oh, wow.
That doesn't take care of your housing needs today.
Right.
You follow me? So there's a non-conforming division of their company. And of course, that's not her particular department. She introduced that gentleman to me, said, David, I've already looked at her credit. She's got anywhere from 10 to 20% down. She can close in literally less than 3 weeks.
That's wonderful.
Okay, so this is what I mean by, and she's got derogatories on her credit report. So what we want our listening audience and the purchasers of our course to be fully aware is this is a situation where it addresses your needs today. It allows you to be firsthand directly involved in your particular set of circumstances. This is not something where we're doing all this work for you and we're advising you. We're giving you step by step on how to acquire your own credit reports, how to sit down and figure out what you're able to do yourself within your household that you're comfortable with. We're addressing what third parties see and how they judge you and how they make a decision based on your set of circumstances today. What you need to be able to do to improve your set of circumstances so that later you can go and get what you want. If you're self-employed, we talk about getting your affairs in order. Accountants, some tax attorneys. There are people that specialize in getting your issues together. And guess what? They all are not super expensive where you can't afford it. This course is not designed to take you from one situation and then charge you all kinds of fees and dealing with all kinds of third parties that's going to charge you these exuberant fees. It's not about that. It's about taking you from point A to point B and allowing you to self-evaluate your situation before you go to point C. And at the end of it, you've gone all the way to Z and you into new home ownership with permanent financing that's in your name. This is what this course is all about. The other thing about this course that's beautiful is these are not temporary fixes. We're able to resolve your issues permanently. So you're not removing some derogatories, and there's some credit repair companies out there. I'm not down in anyone, but what I can tell you is there's some companies that have gone and removed things successfully off your credit report. 6 months later, here the stuff reappears back on your credit. This is not that kind of a situation. This is about taking a set of circumstances, just doing a complete review of it, evaluating what it is. First of all, making sure to it is you. So there's another section in the course where we talk about how third parties view you. In Georgia, and you've heard of this, some people don't know that they have liens against their name until they're in the process of buying a home.
Correct.
So Georgia, they call it 5 phase or judgments, whether it's a lawsuit, whether it's a credit card, any type of creditor can put a lien on your name, and it's automatically attached to a property that you're either buying or a property that you already own. So if you're buying your new home, when you are getting ready for a closing, the closing attorney is going to pull a title on the property itself. They're going to pull a title on the homeowner, and they're going to pull a title on the borrower. So you really need to make sure too you don't have any of these issues. So we talked to you about how to go and pull that information. There are title abstract companies, there are closing attorneys that can easily do this name search for you. If it is not you, like I have a common name, and I remember the very first time I encountered this, there was a person out there named David Washington, and it wasn't me. The attorney pulled the information, pulled it up, and said, "Hey, is this your social security number?" And I told him no. So there's affidavits that I was able to fill out. One of them is called a not me affidavit that you can actually complete, and that whoever's issue that is not counted against me. So that's one thing we talk about in the course. The other thing we talk about is what if it is you? How do you resolve it? Everything like that is going to be about money.
Correct.
So we talk about different techniques on being able to go in and negotiate with these creditors. We talk about techniques in being able to locate them. I know personally if I have had to locate some creditors for some clients that had the same situation going on, either deceased or they're no longer a part of the practice, or their business has gone out of business, but you still have to get in contact with that particular attorney. So we talk about how to not necessarily skip trace, but techniques that you use to simply go and locate who the attorney is, because attorneys cannot just leave pending cases out there. There's ways you can actually go and research, and we tell you how to do that. So again, these are permanent fixes we're talking about. So once you locate the attorney typically can tell you, of course, who the creditor is. Or if you already know who the creditor is, you can pick up the phone and say, "Oh yeah, I forgot I didn't pay JCPenney's 10 years ago. Now I need to take care of that $1,500." And then we talk about the older the debt is, the easier it is to negotiate it. So again, these
In fact,
are all.
some of that should already have fallen off after a certain period of time.
But
anyway.
it sometimes it do, but I've never seen a 5 just fall off.
It won't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to resolve it. Even if you resolve it for $10, you still need to get it resolved. We talk about how to get these things in writing, because as long as you have the agreement in writing, a lot of times that creditor is not going to go and record that. So you have to have that information sent over to the closing attorney. Closing attorney goes and gives you the credit for it, and they make sure too that it's recorded so the issue is resolved permanently. Again, we're not talking about doing temporary Band-Aid fixes. We're talking about resolving your issues permanently.
You have a lot in this program, I must admit. I'm very impressed so far, and I hope you guys are too, about what all that we're willing to share with you guys and let you in on some real estate secrets on how to get that second chance underway and make sure that you're off to the right start. Can you tell us some other little snippets of what is in this course as well? So
Sure.
you talked about a lot of chapter 1. Let's talk about some other chapters in there that are goodies.
So we talk about how you can get old issues resolved. So for instance, for those who've gotten a loan modification, I have a client that it's been a while since I heard about this particular loan modification, but it was a what they call a debt reduction or mortgage reduction modification. A lot of times these homeowners aren't aware that these modifications are temporary, or they may create a second lien on a property. And we talk about how to get those things resolved. Some of them automatically go away after 5 years because it's actually an incentive for you not to refinance, not to sell the property, and for you to continue making your payments. And after 5 years, it kind of goes away. But the problem is the lenders don't always remove it themselves. So it's a lot of stuff that will still follow you. We give you all the options that you need to be able to get these things dealt with. And so that's one of the other things that a lot of folks just simply forget about those. We also talk in here about the creative finance. So we go, you can investor, let the truth be known. So let me tell you how that looked. I may have addressed my housing needs today, and I may have gotten myself into a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, maybe 2.5-bath ranch, because that's what I could afford. Mm-hmm. And it takes care of my housing needs today. It's better than living in an apartment or staying at somebody's house and my stuff is in storage. Now that I've gotten all these derogatories and all these issues resolved, I can actually go to conventional financing at this point. Or I may have gotten enough money from a tax refund or whatever where I can actually, I'm a different person at this time. I'm ready to do something different. I can actually take that property and turn it into an income producing property, which is now that's going to help improve my situation. And now I'm ready to actually go and buy a new home. There's a particular section in this book called Creative Finance, and we talk a lot about turning you into a real estate investor. But I can tell you right now, there have been people that have built wealth strictly on the techniques that I give you in that particular module, and it's called Creative Finance.
Okay, so I've heard you talk about creative financing. Tell me the difference between creative financing and permanent financing.
Okay. Creative financing means you have done something creatively in the negotiation process, either to take over some existing financing that's in place.
Okay.
Okay. So a person that's facing a foreclosure, they're 5 payments behind, they're either going through a divorce or probate or whatever, they're ready to walk away from the property. The property could be underwater. You know, there's a period of time that properties were literally underwater. Now properties are starting to see equity. The market is actually turning, and inventory is pretty low. So you have, this is actually a seller's market. So you can get into that property and negotiate a settlement or negotiate a modification and buy that property subject to. That's creative finance. We actually will explain that to you. We'll tell you how to locate potential homeowners that's willing to do that. We give you the dialogue in which you need to engage with these people in order for them to understand it. We will tell you the positives and negatives, because until that loan is either paid off or has been fully assumed, where you either qualified to assume it, or you have you've just met all the financial needs from the lender to be able to take over that mortgage, where the previous homeowner gets a release of liability, they're still liable. So we want to make sure too you are clear about everything you're doing in this process. We also have third-party affiliates that are attorneys. We recommend that you communicate with an attorney if anything sounds a little suspicious to you, or you kind of a little, we can coach you through this process, but we also recommend you communicate with attorneys, and we'll tell you what information you need to communicate with them about, so you can, from an educated standpoint, you know exactly what you're talking about. So there's so much information in this course. The reason why I've written this course is for several reasons. Number one, I've gotten people into many homes creatively, many, over the years. I've been doing this since 1988. I've acquired many properties. I've sold many properties that I've acquired from a creative standpoint, from a non-traditional standpoint. So this course was written because a lot of people come to me and say, David, I need a house today, but this truck driver just got this job with this company, but he doesn't have, according to the loan office, he doesn't have the correct documentation to be able to get financing. I mean, it's so many different scenarios. Or a person went through a divorce, they lost a property to foreclosure 10 years ago. And because the foreclosure didn't go on their credit exactly 10 years ago, it's maybe taken 3 or 4 for the dust to settle, and now they have this derogatory in their credit report. They need a house today. This course doesn't talk about you renting anything. It tells you about how to become a homeowner. That's what we call it, Second Chance Home Buyers Program. So I was motivated to do that. Creative financing and permanent financing. Creative finance addresses your needs today.
Okay.
Creatively.
Mm-hmm.
And there's about 50 different techniques that we're going to talk about within this course that you can get into a property creatively. Down payment. What if your down payment is inadequate? I remember one of the first properties I sold. These people wanted this house so bad. It was a new couple. They were older people. $10,000 down. And they came in and they offered me an automobile, and they were going to make payments to me on the other part that they didn't have in cash at that point. So I got $10,000. I got this vehicle. I'm sorry, I got $5,000. I got this vehicle that was worth about $4,000. And then they made payments to me because they were being creative. They were able to give me more than I was actually asking for. But I walked away and I sold them that property. 2 years after I sold them that property on owner finance, they were able to go and refinance because they already had what they call equitable interest in the property.
Okay.
They were able to go and refinance the property, pull cash out, have a lower payment than what I was charging them, and they're in their home.
So during this time when they was doing creative financing, did their name go on the deed?
It went on what they call, so owner financing is where the homeowner. This is not a rental situation. This is not a landlord-tenant situation. In Georgia, it's called contract for deed. In Michigan, which is where I'm from, it's called land contract. Most states have some variation of that, meaning that your mortgage, your note, your promise to pay, all that is wrapped up into one contract. And in Georgia, like I said, it's called contract for deed. Your name goes on title at that point. The person you bought the property from technically becomes your lender. And you're buying a property with an interest rate, so you're not renting this property. And I would say probably 10 times out of 10, your payment is actually going to be less than what it would be if you were renting that same property. We talk about how to creatively get into that type of situation and how to get into it and be protected. Because again, if there's underlying financing on there, you don't want your contract to ever go into breach because the person you bought the property from is not making their payment.
Mm-hmm.
So we tell you how to do the homework by pulling title on a property and periodically checking that title until your financing is permanent.
Right.
So again, all these are realistic, doable solutions to your problems, and it make it where the path of homeownership is not just laid out for you, but it is given to you on a step-by-step basis where you're understanding how you're doing what you're doing.
Okay, David, so you've talked about creative financing quite a bit. Can you give me what is permanent financing?
Okay, so permanent finance, I was actually just getting ready to get to that. Permanent finance is if I go to my traditional lender, I fill out a 1003 Fannie Mae loan application, I give a down payment, we go through the process of me securing an actual mortgage on a property. That's permanent financing.
Okay.
This course will address permanent financing is not designed for people that can go and get permanent financing today. It's designed for people that cannot get permanent financing but they need a house today.
Okay, well, let me ask you this question. What about if I'm willing to do creative financing, but I just don't have the money? Is there any type of programs that would help me get the money? Can you explain a little bit about this bartering program? Is it in your module as well?
It is, and it's in the creative finance module.
Good.
And again, we're not going to sit here and go over all those individual details. You need to buy the course. But I will tell you this. It addressed people that have derogatory credit. It also addressed people that have little or no money.
Good.
Okay? At the end of the day, you have to be able to afford to be in that property. So if you making $1,000 a month and you're trying to buy a $500 a month house, this course is not for you. If you are making $1,000 a month and you're getting ready to graduate, or you're getting ready to get a promotion at your job, or something is getting ready to happen, you need to buy a home today. You need to get yourself into a home, but you can't go to the bank. This course is for you.
Good.
So this is what this is all about. It's about addressing your immediate housing needs as well as getting you prepared for your final and permanent financing. That's
Now,
what this entire course is about.
Now, I heard you earlier say that if I didn't want to or take the time to actually go through the course myself, or is there anyone that I can call? And I know you said before we can call the office, but I want our listeners and viewers to know when they call in and we say, you know what, I just don't have time to do all of this. Can you not help me and just do it for me? Is there someone that's able to do that for them?
Very simple answer for that. No. Absolutely not. We are not in the business of being. I've been doing that already. That's how come I know this system works. At this point, the smartest way to do this and to get it implemented and to get it out there into our listening audience and our purchasers' hands is for them to experience this. We are not here to consult you on that where you hire us to do it. We are here to guide you through the process once you've acquired the course, once you've started the course. There's nothing worse than you hiring someone to do something for you and you have no clue what they're doing. So, for instance, just imagine you've taken your car to the shop to get some brakes put on it. You know nothing about automobiles, definitely know nothing about brakes. The technician can come back and tell you anything.
Yep.
They can charge you anything. This Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors and David Washington, who I am the broker and owner of Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors. For years, I've been about educating my clients and helping them achieve their real estate needs. My company's expertise is dealing with problems and drama with an address. Hate to say it that way, but that's the easiest way that people can comprehend exactly what we do. We deal with the divorces, probate. We deal with wrongful foreclosure cases. We deal with loan modifications, short sales. We just deal with everything that has to do with commercial, residential, vacant land. We deal with issues because people they can buy a house simply and easily if they're already in a position to do that. We want to target the audience that's not in a position to do that, but they need housing today. We are able to communicate with people that are renting. I know this one client that I had that rented for 25 years.
Woo!
Can you imagine paying rent for 25 years?
No, I can't. I promise you I
her
can't.
biggest issue once I took her and put her through this course was all about I was afraid because I never knew that I had the ability to go and buy my own home.
Oh, wow.
But she was in her comfort zone of renting her property. What you can do is you can purchase the course. You have to review the course. You have to use the course because before you engage with any of our agents or myself, you have to have your credit report in front of you. You have to have your background checked. You have to have certain things that I know you can only get by going through this course.
Is there a time limit on taking the course?
It's kind of a self-paced. So if you have a housing need and you need to be relocated within 30 to 45 days, this course can address that.
Yes.
This course can address that. To complete the course and fully comprehend it and to be able to have all your notes and have all the homework that is required of you, you can do that realistically in a 7-day period of time.
Okay.
You can actually do it less than that, but I want people to comprehend what they're learning and what they're reading. Again, this is not about we're going to tap into just a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You are getting knee-deep involved in every individual module. The criminal background part, for instance, we talk a lot about exactly what you need to do to acquire your criminal background. So if you're applying for any type of licensing, like a real estate license or a mortgage broker's license or various doctors, whatever license you're getting, a professional license, a criminal background is required. You need to know what's on your criminal background.
That's true.
Your mortgage company is not going to pull your criminal background, but like I said, the other third parties that you engage will. So you just want to we know that you're going to be involved in this course and you're going to learn and you are going to be a part of it. This is not something we can do for you. We used to do it that way. It's just way too much time, too much energy that's required. You can easily get your own stuff taken care of a lot easier than you hiring me to get it taken care of for you.
That's true. And plus the fact you need to spend more time in getting your own stuff done than us.
Absolutely.
So you have more in it than we do, but you need to show us that you are serious about taking action toward your dreams.
Exactly. I mean, I've met so many people that need a house today, and they just don't know which way to look. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to say once they find it. This is going to tell you exactly how to do that, and you're going to have someone from customer service that's going to be able to give you coaching throughout the process. So yeah, we're going to be there. There's a portion in this, one of our modules that I absolutely love is called Turning This House into Your Home. And this is right where you're getting ready to make the transition from the creative finance into the permanent finance, but you're already in your house. This changes you from going out and cutting your grass versus going out and grooming your lawn, going out and planting flowers, going out and making your house into a home. This particular module is the showpiece of what this course is all about, because when you become a homeowner that have your financial needs in order, your financial issues in order, it turns you into a different kind of person altogether.
Yes, it does. Yes, because
mean,
it's
it's-
nothing like that ownership.
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of the American dream.
We want to, because I specialize in some of the other stuff, we want to keep that American dream your dream. We don't want it to be your dream today and 5 years later, some disaster has happened in your life and now your dream is turned into a nightmare.
That is so true.
This is not what this course is about. So again, we want to introduce this to our audience. We will be giving workshops about this course. We will be giving workshops for this course where we're going to talk about for 2 hours everything leading up to the actual purchasing of this course. There to answer questions. We're going to even do a boot camp for the persons that have purchased the course, and we're just going to take them on a 1-day boot camp about getting this course implemented.
Oh, wow.
So that's the next best thing to you actually being able to hire us to do this for you. You'll be able to acquire the course and get step-by-step guidance and the proper submission, pulling the proper credit reports and going to the right websites and talking to loan officers and talking to accountants. All of these things will be a part of this course, and we are so proud. The day we announced the release of it, which is going to be within the next 30 days, it's going to be a little kept secret for the moment, but it's going to be unleashed to the public, and we're going to be making these announcements on our Second Chance Homebuyers Boot Camp. I'm just looking so much forward to it.
That's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. So listen, our viewing audience, our listening audience, we want you to be able to contact Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors. Contact David Washington, 770-318-4142. Visit our website, www.kiplingrec.com. Stay tuned for our boot camps, our workshops. This is about helping people achieve their real estate needs. This is not about selling you a course and sending you about your business. No, this is about helping you achieve your real estate needs on a step-by-step. I have someone I can pick up the phone and call if I run into a crunch. I didn't necessarily understand that particular website. This is up-to-date, real-time information that's going to be given to you. And I just look forward to the results that I've helped so many people already with this. I've acquired properties myself. I just look so forward to being able to unleash this particular program that I'm so proud of to the public, and I'm just so grateful. We have all types of testimonials, people that have already had excellent experiences with this process. Some people were able to get some things free because in our research stage, we kind of had to make sure it worked. Some of the websites and things that we've sent folks to was very user-friendly. And then there's some that people didn't have the greatest experience with if they're not very computer savvy. You have someone you can pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I'm a little stuck or I'm a little unclear about something. And that is really what I'm most proud of. So
I'm quite sure the community will thank you for writing such a program that is making it 1, 2, 3 ABC steps for everybody to understand, and just not the tech savvy people or people that is all over that can understand your course. And I do appreciate you writing that particular book of knowledge for our community. So
Thank you. Well, you and I have been in the business for helping people for a long time.
yes,
And I'm looking so forward to, we have all types of special people that we've helped get into homeownership that to this day, they're like, David, whatever you do, just let me know, I'm going to be there, because I didn't even know these things were possible. So thank our listening audience for tuning in to Let's Talk Real Estate with David and Company. You all have a good night, and God bless you.
bye.